Hi, my name's Don VerKuilen, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be the next artistic director of the Singers Club of Cleveland. Well, I remember seeing the advertisement for the position, and I was immediately intrigued by it. It is the oldest performing arts group in Cleveland, which is just amazing. A group of 60 guys in a choir. It just sounded to me like it would be a lot of fun and that we could make a lot of great music together. Well, my music career started out when I was very young. I was about 4 years old. The preschool teacher I had, she would play the piano for us quite frequently, and one day when she played piano, I got back up on the bench and played back to her what she had just played for us. And my music career was kind of all downhill from there, as they say. I got into piano lessons soon after that, but always wanted to switch over to the organ. And I was inspired to play the organ. I was in the Appleton Boy Choir, which had really great men and boys choral singing with the organ, and I was always fascinated by that. And my mother likes to tell the story that was the only time I ever behaved in church was when the organ was playing. In fact, as just a little toddler, I would pick myself up and stare into the loft where the organ was when it was playing. My church career started out very early. I got my first church job at the age of 13, and I still am a church musician to this day. I'm the director of music and liturgy at St. Rocco's Catholic Parish on Cleveland's west side. I started performing when I was in high school. I'd won many competitions, and I had even done a performance at the International Festival of the Organ in Rome, Italy, while I was in high school. Always loved performing. I loved sharing music with other people, and I still love sharing music with people to this day. And that's also what got me into choral singing. It goes hand in hand with church music that you also are a choir director. I had spent a good part of my music career singing in choirs, high school. I had even developed my own education program at the high school I went to, where I got to be the assistant conductor for some of the choirs. And I've had numerous church choirs, and I've directed choirs around the United States as a guest. But I love sharing music with groups of people, and I can't think of a better way to do that than with a choir. Yes, music does consume most of my life. It is a hobby, but also my vocation. But why don't I take you someplace and show you one of my other hobbies? So now that I'm in my grubby clothes, we're in my shop in Parma, and behind me is a 1923 Ford Model T. Restoring these is my hobby outside of music. I come to the shop. This is kind of my sanctuary where I just come and tinker and get away from the world a little bit. I fell in love with these cars when I was a kid. My grandfather in the 60s bought a Model T, and you really couldn't even recognize that it was a car. He pulled it out of multiple cornfields. It was just all rusted out parts, but it sat in his garage for about 40 some years. And when I was in about the second grade, him and I started working on it, and we didn't finish until I was in high school. But I really fell in love with these cars. Top speed on one of these things is about 35 miles an hour downhill. So you really can't be in a rush when you're driving these. You can't get on the highway. So you get to see parts of town that you don't really get to see. You get to experience all these small towns when you're going places that you really kind of forget even exist. It's very relaxing and very enjoyable, and this is a great way to kind of get out and relax. So let me grab the camera. I'll give you a little closer look here. So again, this is a 1923 Ford Model T. fresh out of a barn, so it pretty much needs everything. But over here, this is another 1923 Ford Model T, and this is actually the car that my grandfather and I restored when I was a kid. Back in July, when my wife and I got married, for our honeymoon, we actually took this to Dearborn, Michigan and back, where it rolled off the assembly line back in 1923. Engine's out right now for a couple repairs, but that's just about done, and we should be on the road soon, just in time for the good weather. Well, it is May right now and 35 degrees, but I sure hope that warm weather's coming soon. So take a look out in the parking lot when you're coming to rehearsals or you're coming for a concert. You might see one of these two cars in the parking lot. Yes, I do have a pipe organ in the house, and it is right here. This was made by the Austin Organ Company in 1932. It has about 300 pipes crammed behind here, and so far, none of the neighbors have complained. We'll see how long that lasts. This is kind of a neat little piece of history. This organ is called the Austin Junior. Right before the Depression hit and the company, the Austin Organ Company, was about to close its doors, they were trying to market these little organs to concert organists to practice on at home, so that they didn't have to go to their church or the hall or something to get their practice in. So they developed this Austin Junior, and they only ended up making 7 of them. And what's interesting is this is the first Junior, and it is the only one that has survived. So it's kind of neat to have a little piece of history right here in my study. I know that this is a hard time for all of us. It is hard to be isolated. It is hard to not be with our friends. It's hard to not go out and do the things that we love to do. And especially for singers, it's hard not to be able to sing together. But remember this, music is what binds us all together. Music is what heals us. And so my advice to you, until we can be together again, is to keep singing. Whether it is singing in the shower, humming a tune as you're walking down the hallway, or as you're walking the dog outside, or even listening to music, just keep singing. And we will all get through this together, and I hope that I will get to see you soon.